Hello friends, welcome to the second part of chapter number 10, Light Reflection and Refraction of Grade 10th. We have already studied about image formation by concave mirror for different positions of the object in the previous activity. Now in order to represent these images geometrically, we make use of ray diagrams. Now how to construct a ray diagram? For that, consider an extended object of finite size placed in front of a spherical mirror. Each small portion of the extended object acts like a point source. An infinite number of rays originate from each of these points. So you can see in this image, we have considered an object to be of point size and large number of rays are originating from this object. Now when these rays are incident on concave mirror, after reflection they meet at one point which will be considered as image location. So in this way we can construct a ray diagram. However, it will be more convenient to consider only two rays for the sake of clarity of the ray diagram. This is because it will be more easy for us to know the direction of the reflected rays. Hence, we will choose any two rays for constructing ray diagram. The intersection of at least two reflected rays gives the position of the image of the point object. So you can see in this image, we have considered only two light rays and their intersection point as the location of image. Now let us understand some rules to obtain images in ray diagram. Rule number 1. A ray which is parallel to principal axis will always pass through focus after reflection. So you can see here in the diagram, when an incident ray is parallel to principal axis, after reflection it goes towards focus. Rule number 2. A ray which is passing through focus will become parallel to principal axis after reflection. So as you can see in this diagram, rays which are passing through focus, they become parallel to the principal axis after reflection in case of both convex as well as concave mirror. Rule number 3. A ray which is passing through center of curvature will follow the same path back after reflection. So again you can see in this diagram, a ray which is passing through center of curvature reflects back again through center of curvature. Rule number 4. Ray which is incident at pole is reflected back making same angle with principal axis. So you can see in the diagram, an incident ray which is incident at pole reflects back with same angle. Remember that in all the above cases, the laws of reflection are followed. That means at the point of incidence, the incident ray is reflected in such a way that the angle of reflection equals to the angle of incidence. Now based on these rules, we can construct ray diagrams of concave mirror for different positions of an object. Let's see one by one. First, when the object is placed at infinity, its image is formed at focus. Size is highly diminished, but the nature is real and inverted. Similarly, if the position of an object is beyond C, that is center of curvature, its image is formed between C and F. Size of the image is diminished, that is small, but the nature is again real and inverted. If an object is placed at center of curvature, its image will be also formed at center of curvature. Size of the image will be same as size of the object and the nature will be real and inverted. Similarly, if the object is placed between center of curvature and principal focus, its image will be formed beyond center of curvature. Now the size of image will be magnified and the nature will be real and inverted. Now if we place an object at principal focus, its image will be formed at infinity. Size of the image will be highly magnified, but the nature will be real and inverted. At last, if the object is placed between pole and principal focus, its image is formed behind the mirror, which means now we will get virtual and erect image, and the size of the image will be magnified. Now let us see what are the uses of concave mirrors. Number 1. Concave mirrors are commonly used in torches, searchlights and vehicle headlights to get powerful parallel beams of light. So as you can see in this image, torch light has a concave mirror fixed inside it where the bulb is located. Even in car headlight, you will observe a concave mirror. Second, they are often used as shaving mirrors to see a large image of the face. Third use is by dentists. Dentists often use concave mirrors to see large images of the teeth of patients. Also, large concave mirrors are used to concentrate sunlight to produce heat in solar furnaces. Activity 4. Let us understand what kind of images are formed by convex mirror. For that purpose, we have to take a convex mirror in our hand and hold a pencil in upright position in front of that convex mirror. Observe the image of the pencil in the mirror. Is the image erect or inverted? Is it diminished or enlarged? Now move the pencil away from the mirror slowly. Does the image become smaller or larger? Now repeat this activity carefully. State whether the image will move closer or farther away from the focus as the object is moved away from the mirror. So if we place a pencil in front of a convex mirror at infinity, it will form a diminished image at focus. And similarly, if you will move that pencil towards the convex mirror at any position between infinity and pole, you will obtain its image always between pole and focus behind the mirror. Size and nature will be always diminished as well as virtual and erect. So this proves that convex mirror always forms diminished image. Now based on this activity, we can construct a ray diagram in case of convex mirror. That is, if an object is placed at infinity, its image is formed at focus behind the mirror. Nature of the image will be virtual and erect, and size will be highly diminished, that is point-like. If we place an object between pole and infinity, its image will be formed between P and F behind the mirror. Size of the image will be diminished and nature will be virtual and erect. Now let's see what are the uses of convex mirrors. Convex mirrors are often used as rear view mirrors in cars as well as two-wheelers. This is because they facilitate safe driving, enabling the driver to see traffic behind them. Since these mirrors have wider field of view as they are curved outwards, hence they help driver to view larger area behind them. Now let us understand sign convention for reflection by spherical mirrors. We shall follow a set of sign conventions called the new Cartesian sign convention. We have already seen Cartesian coordinate system in maths. So here we will follow the same Cartesian coordinate system. That means the principal axis, which is horizontal, can be considered as x-axis, and we will draw a vertical line which is passing through pole of the mirror. It will be taken as y-axis. Now on left side we have x dash axis where all distances are negative. Always remember, light ray is coming from left side on the mirror. And also whatever distances we will measure from pole. Now if the object is placed on left side, then its distance will be considered as negative. That means distances on the left side of the mirror will be always considered negative. So all distances measured to the right of the origin are taken as positive, while those measured to the left of the origin are taken as negative. Now distances measured perpendicular to and above the principal axis, that is plus y axis, are taken as positive. Let's take an example of height of the object, that is h. It will be considered positive because it is along y axis. Whereas height of image, it is below the y axis, that is y dash axis. Hence it will be measured as negative. So distances measured perpendicular to and below the principal axis are taken as negative. Now let's talk about mirror formula and magnification. In spherical mirror, the distance between object and pole is known as object distance, which is denoted by u. Now the sign of object distance will be always negative since it is placed on left side of the mirror, that is on x dash axis. Also, the distance of the image from pole of the mirror is called image distance, denoted by symbol v. Also, we have discussed about focal length, which is the distance between principal focus and pole. A formula which gives us the relation between object distance, image distance and focal length is called mirror's formula, which is given as 1 upon u plus 1 upon v is equal to 1 upon f. This equation is known as mirror's formula. Let's see what is magnification. We have seen earlier that images formed by spherical mirrors may vary in size. At some positions we obtained magnified images, whereas at some positions we obtained highly diminished images. So the ratio of height of image to the height of object gives us the magnification factor of that image. Hence, magnification is defined as the ratio of height of image to the height of object, which is denoted by symbol small m. And the formula is small m is equal to image height upon object height, that is h dash upon h. Magnification is also related to image distance and object distance, which can be given by formula m is equal to h dash upon h, which is equal to minus v upon u. Note that the height of object is always positive. Since object is placed along y-axis vertically, hence its height will be taken as positive, whereas height of image, that is h dash, can be either positive or negative. If we obtain an inverted image, then the height is directed towards negative y-axis and it will be considered negative. Whereas if we obtain an erect image, then the height is directed towards positive y-axis and it will be considered as positive. Now in case of a plane mirror, height of image and height of object both are erect. That means magnification of plane mirror is always plus 1, that is positive. So this brings us to the end of second part of the chapter. In the next video, we will discuss about second property of light, that is refraction. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel Vigyan Shala, and also press the bell icon for more notifications of new videos.